Welcome. You are welcome to Season 3 of my podcast, More Than a Womanist, the animated talk show series. This is Episode 1, and I'm your host, Lanice Merritt. I'm in New York City. It's going to be in the low 50s all day. Today is December 15th, by the way. The winter solstice is coming in on the 21st. The shortest day of the year, and it's been getting darker a lot earlier. I don't mind it. I don't mind the evening sky. I might spend the rest of my day drinking hot chocolate and catching up on some of the new sappy holiday movies I like to watch around this time. Bad Santa was my favorite growing up. I'm in the mood to rewatch Little Man, maybe some White Chicks. My apartment is like a H&M store. I like a little background noise at times. I'll let meditation music play, classical music play. It's a thing I picked up in college. I was looking for new ways to study, then I got into astral projection. You guys know the spiel I gave back in episode 4 of my podcast. Have my hot chocolate handy, by the way. I've been randomly playing the holiday hits on Pandora. I love it when a big name makes a holiday jingle for us. It's cute and timeless. And I want a little Lanice Santa action figure. I want a China doll. I think my late uncle would like that. Rest in paradise, Uncle X. Excuse my French, but fuck cancer. He gave me the name. For those who don't know, my nickname growing up is China. It's what my relatives and childhood friends would call me, but let's get to the news. Biden's popularity is fluctuating in almost every poll, and I'm sure this has to do with his response to some of the events evolving around COVID. The coronavirus has made hiring discrimination legal through vaccine mandates. This is the first vaccine in U.S. history where a card is being distributed by medical institutions as proof of being fully vaccinated. Upon being vaccinated, one is expected to carry the card whenever he or she leaves their home. The proof is needed in order to gain entry into public spaces and has the same validity as a state ID. My hesitancy to take the vaccine evolves around watching the government go from red to blue to a totalitarian government. Mandating people to be vaccinated is the government extending its power by bleeding out people who don't conform. People who see through their antics, in my opinion. The United States just recently hit the 1-year mark for data on the vaccine. And that was not before new viruses such as Omicron and Delta mutated, not strands of the coronavirus. We're talking a whole new virus, whole new viruses. The booster has not reached its 1-year mark. The first booster became available a few months ago in September. And may I add, as consumers, we have the right to research products and services before formulating an opinion and making a decision to indulge. You're no longer able, you cannot be an anti-vaxxer when it comes to COVID. And I've been in school and I wrote tons of essays on why it is best to be vaccinated. But this current pandemic is putting me into a category of an anti-vaxxer because my own personal opinions on it regarding the length of time and the control aspect from the government. If you guys understand, like with a totalitarian government, they have the ability to exercise more control over their people. So when they do a vaccine mandate, it's not to woo. But that's not how we are as United States. And under a blue president, The vaccine mandate not only imposes on consumer rights, it imposes on equal employment opportunity rights. And with that being said, the EEOC, the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Department, that institution, is not making enough noise for me. If the supposed reason for this breach in free will is due to a state of emergency, and the new viruses Delta and Omicron are deadlier than COVID, why has pandemic restrictions been lifted? Why has pandemic assistance ended? Why are we more focused on employment rate and big pharma competing globally than the mortality rate? I'm not sure if it's been into effect yet. Actually, I am. But one has to be vaccinated to even be considered for a job now. Alternatives include, well, I don't know about your state, but that's what I heard. And I'm going to check on the news again today. And I'll get back to you guys. But alternatives include working remotely, but not all companies have remote sectors. Sidebar, we have to mention the scarcity in job opportunities offered to graduate students, especially if you have your heart set on working for a larger corporation. Speaking of going corporate, do you know how much harder it is for a Black person to enter in corporate sector, not climb the corporate ladder, enter corporate? You can eyeball the amount of diversity in a company's retail sector versus their corporate sectors. I'm going off on a tangent a bit, but this pandemic exposed a lot of the barriers of wealth creation that the system has in place, especially when it came time to get back to work. Even with the bill the former president signed, that qualified more people to be eligible for salary-based hiring opportunities by essentially replacing degree and competency-based hiring to create opportunities and open the job market to people who may not have attended or completed a college degree, those who are certified for their skills and trade knowledge, who might fall through the cracks when applying to positions that are normally given to someone who completed higher education, in competition with people who have an Ivy League stamp on their resumes. Stimulus packages were given to everyone, but it's been refined under the Biden administration. But back to his poll numbers, it's a clear difference in government care from the former administration and Biden's administration during the pandemic. The Omicron and Delta virus, is not being properly differentiated from the coronavirus as the deadliest virus since COVID, which made the U.S. lock down. The government's actions is not following the data, what the science is saying. COVID testing sites could be more efficient. Multiple testing sites placed within districts holding communities of people who normally would not step foot into a hospital or a clinic. The testing sites has access to people who don't have medical services. The test requires a small sample of bodily fluid that can be tested for an array of illnesses and diseases, not just COVID. Getting people into the hospital, early detection of diseases and illnesses saves lives. There are certain diseases and illnesses that are more common in a specific group of people, such as diabetes being prevalent in Black communities because of our diets, our culture, and the foods that come with it. Hey, happy holidays. Welcome back. Did you hear there will be a vaccine for HIV/AIDS soon? I'm not sure what it entails, but I always check in on it. I sincerely believe there should be compensation for people infected with HIV/AIDS and or family of people who died of HIV/AIDS. It's a public health hazard that the U.S. government hasn't distributed a vaccine to protect against HIV/AIDS. Maybe there needs to be some fire under their ASS, but I hate when the government acts like there needs to be people running around like chickens with their heads cut off in order for them to do their job. The crisis has been an epidemic for the last 20-30 years in the U.S. and holds stigma throughout the world. The groups with the highest risk of contracting HIV/AIDS are ethnic transgenders, and we need to protect trans women. Maybe they can add some STI testing to those sites if it's not going on already. I'm not at every testing site. I don't know what's going on at every testing site, but I know people who work in them, and I'm just taking my look around and formulating my own opinions as I am a consumer. So, and by the way, I don't carry any negative connotation around me as a biological woman wanting to differentiate myself from a trans woman. I'm still an ally. It's like when I call people out, maybe not the best example. It's like when I call people out for cultural appropriation. I'm flattered, genuinely. But no matter how good you look tan, you are not black. Or with braids, you're not black. And at the end of the day, me as a biological woman, I will not ever know what it feels like to have a penis. I will not ever know what it's like to live as a man. I'm an ally of transgender women. I had a tango or two with the same sex. I identified as bisexual for a while. I stopped labeling myself and my sexual orientation, which ultimately labeled me as a pansexual. Hey, if I'm attracted to you, I go with the flow and share the experience. You know, I'm all about my current events. I like to know how other people are having sex. The world is changing. Sex is a great indicator of that. Modesty is changing. I have my first appointment coming up to take, I actually missed my first appointment to take the COVID vaccine. Just last minute, I just was like, I'm just not sure. And I'm comfortable being an independent journalist right now. Like, I'm still in comfortable living conditions, but I would like to move forward. And when I was speaking on corporate, maybe I was being a little biased because I would like to enter the corporate field, go corporate, and use my skills to the best of my ability. And that's when I ran into that problem. But I wasn't sure, and now I'm even being considered. I want to be considered. I want to get these calls back. I would like that, you know. So I'm going to get this vaccine, and that's also what I meant about bleeding people out, like forcing them into a corner. Who are we? Is this a democracy, better yet a republic, or is this a totalitarian government? So I'm scheduled for 3 a.m. tomorrow. I'm getting the Pfizer one. The first one was for Moderna. I've actually heard complaints. See, and hearing complaints about this vaccine is just so much. Hearing complaints. I'm gonna get the Pfizer one. I haven't gotten sick once since the pandemic began. I will say, I do occasionally get, like maybe twice since the pandemic started, I got a cold sore, and that's like my sick. And But I know everyone doesn't have as strong as an immune system. And hopefully we get some vaccines for that, you know, HIV immunodeficiency. But hey, as I stated before, my problem now is with the vaccine and it being mandated. And, you know, I can't work without it. But that is all I have for you guys today. Until next time, if there's a next time, guys, pray for me because I'm praying for you. No, I'm joking. But I am praying to the Mother Earth for all of us, okay? No religious barriers, language barriers here. See, that just made me feel like I need to put this transcript in different languages. But hey, you guys enjoy the rest of your day. And remember, you're always welcome. Happy holidays. I wanted to release this episode before Christmas and before everything else. And I wanted to put this podcast this season exclusively on YouTube so that you guys can watch it through the YouTube membership. But I've also been considering just adding it to my website. Yeah, I have a website now, hey? So I've been considering that. And this was going to be my last animated talk show season for now. Don't get scared. I just want to make it so much better for you guys. But the podcast will continue. It will continue on streaming services. So you can listen to season 4 and forthcoming seasons as I release them. It's always available for you. But the animated, seeing the visuals, I want that to be sectored off. A lot of sectored words today. But like I said, I love you guys. And come back and visit me again. And this is my show. Have a seat. And I'm gonna give you all of these to all the tea that be happening around me. That was straight off the dome. I don't have a fucking theme song, but I'm gonna make one now.